It's the year 1985, and the average sales price of a home is $89,000. Michael Jordan is a rookie in the NBA. The number one song in America is Careless Whispers by George Michael. The number one movie in America is Back to the Future. And Ashburn, Virginia is a small, rural town with a population of about 200 people. But one decision in 1985 changed it all. So in this week's video, I'll share with you the history of Ashburn, Virginia, and you will find out exactly what changed Ashburn from a small dot on a map to the modern marvel that it is today. And you're not gonna wanna miss it, so sit back, relax, because we're getting started right now. Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor, and welcome back to another video. The history of Ashburn, Virginia. So I've personally lived in Ashburn since 2017, and I've done over 30 videos on what it's like to live in Ashburn. However, I haven't talked much about the history and how it went from a small rural town to one of the best suburbs in the whole state of Virginia. In fact, I didn't even know much about the history myself until I found this great article in Ashburn Magazine called 1985 Decision Charted a New Course for Ashburn. And this is a great article that I'm using as a resource for this video, and I'll leave a link to the article in the description. Definitely go check it out. So let's get it started and find some insight on how Ashburn came to be. So prior to 1985, Ashburn's a small rural town filled with dairy farms, gravel roads, one school, and had a population of only about 200 people. Now to put that population of 200 people into context, the current population in Ashburn in 2025 is around 50,000 people. So that's a huge growth in population these past 40 years. Also prior to 1985, there was actually only one store in Ashburn where you could get food, gas, and other essentials, which is called Partlows, and many locals nicknamed it Ashburn Mall. So for any real shopping like grocery stores, clothing stores, record stores, which were obviously popular in the 80s, or fun activities like swimming pools or going to the movie theater, locals had to go to either Herndon or Leesburg. However, one decision in 1985 changed the course of Ashburn's history forever. And that's when county leaders approved a new development called Ashburn Village, which was going to be a master plan community that would have over 5,000 homes, dozens of new roads, schools, sewer systems, a supermarket, shopping center, pools, lakes, and a lot more. So as you can imagine, many residents were against this change because they loved their rural lifestyle, and Ashburn was a very small, tight-knit community of only 200 people. And when you have a small community like this, literally everybody knows everybody. And neighbors really supported each other, like bringing food when someone is sick or helping others dig out roads and driveways during blizzards. So it's crazy to think, where I live here in Ashburn just 40 years ago, only 200 people lived here. I could literally walk to one Loudon from my house and see over 200 people. So local residents, they were definitely against the Ashburn Village project because it was going to threaten their way of life. Also, residents knew that by adding 5,000 new homes and 5,000 new families, that this would 100% change everything about the way they live. Not to mention, those 5,000 homes would only be the start for even more development. Also in December of 1985, the Washington Post ran a story on the proposed Ashburn Village development titled "Neighbors Uneasy About Impact of Ashburn Project in Loudon." And one local resident told the Washington Post, "We are dead set against it." So as you can see, many residents, they were not happy at all with the Ashburn Village project. But many residents, they felt and knew that development was inevitable. Because at that time, Ashburn was surrounded by growing communities with Cascades, Sugarland Run, and Sterling Park. However, some residents were actually for the Ashburn development. Because back in 1985, all of the roads in Ashburn were gravel roads filled with potholes, homes were in septic tanks, and most of Ashburn was on red clay soil, which is not great for farming crops. So by 1985, many of the local farms had shut down and were vacant. So you had all this vacant land in Ashburn just waiting to be developed on. And that's what the Ashburn Village project was going to bring, as developers promised to bring newer infrastructures like sewers to area homes, new paved roads, schools, shops, many different style of homes. And all of these additions was only going to enhance the Ashburn area. So once this project was officially approved, the transformation began quickly. As 3 historic buildings across Ashburn Road, they were torn down to start adding new roads and residential properties. And Ashburn Village officially opened up for home sales in 1988. Now, 40 years later, Ashburn has over 40,000 homes, many highly rated schools, town centers with restaurants and movie theaters, parks with every amenity imaginable, and a lot more. So basically, this area is completely unrecognizable from 1985. So in the years following the Ashburn Village project, nearly all of Ashburn's remaining farms were sold off to make way for future developments, with communities like Brambleton, Broadlands, Ashburn Farm, Belmont Country Club, with many more communities soon to follow. So it's amazing how fast an area can grow. And I know a lot of people at that time, they were against this development, but over time, progress has to happen, especially Ashburn's only 30 miles away from Washington, D.C., plus a rapidly growing population. So it was just a matter of time that this area was gonna be developed into what it is today. And what Ashburn is today is what I believe one of the best places to live in the whole state of Virginia because of everything I mentioned earlier. It's a newer community, highly rated schools, great place to raise a family, safety, and so much more, which is why I call Ashburn, Virginia my home. And not to mention, I actually personally lived in Ashburn Village for about 4 years. So this I can say for certain. The Ashburn Village development was 100% worth it, and the developers exceeded expectations. So that's your history lesson for today. There'll be a pop quiz on this tomorrow. I'm just kidding, but if you want to learn more about living in Ashburn or the rest of Northern Virginia, check out these videos right here. They're gonna be great ways to continue your research, and I'll see you in the next video.